Reports confirm that a previously undisclosed fleet of naval vessels, now being termed Trump's super battleships, has surfaced in the latest release of the Epstein files, revealing a potential hidden agenda with implications for global security, maritime power projection, and international economics. These documents, meticulously analyzed by investigative teams, contain financial trails, ship acquisition records, and logistical details that suggest Trump-affiliated entities may have orchestrated or funded the creation and deployment of a fleet with capabilities exceeding standard private maritime assets. Analysts emphasize that these vessels are not ordinary ships. Preliminary assessments suggest they are designed for high-end operational efficiency, integrating next-generation radar, missile systems, electronic warfare suites, and advanced propulsion mechanisms capable of extended-range missions. Estimates indicate that the primary hulls are in excess of 25,000 tons displacement, with reinforced armor and modular weapon platforms allowing rapid adaptation for offensive or defensive roles. Their operational design appears tailored for strategic mobility, capable of traversing contested maritime zones such as the South China Sea, the Strait of Hormuz, and the Eastern Mediterranean with minimal detection, while maintaining high survivability against conventional naval threats. Before continuing, viewers are urged to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to remain informed of this ongoing high-stakes development. The full operational and geopolitical consequences of these revelations are only beginning to emerge, and staying updated is essential to understanding the shifting dynamics of global security. The Epstein files provide unprecedented insight into financial mechanisms and international networks connected to Trump-affiliated entities. Transaction records indicate the involvement of offshore shell corporations, private equity structures, and high-value asset transfers that appear linked to the construction, outfitting, and deployment of these super battleships. Analysts have identified a complex web of contracts with shipyards in the United States, South Korea, and possibly Eastern Europe, with timelines suggesting clandestine procurement of advanced naval technologies. The documents reference specialized equipment, including integrated radar arrays with ranges exceeding 500 kilometers, electromagnetic railgun prototypes capable of launching projectiles at hypersonic velocities, long-range surface-to-air missile systems, and modular drone deployment bays for reconnaissance and strike operations. Military experts warn that even partial operational deployment of this fleet would dramatically alter regional power balances, particularly in strategically sensitive regions where existing naval capabilities are closely monitored by state actors. Satellite and AIS, automatic identification system data, corroborate unusual movements of large, previously unreported vessels consistent with descriptions in the Epstein files. Late 2025 imagery identified multiple ships matching the super battleship profile navigating deep water corridors near the Strait of Hormuz and the Bab el-Mandeb, both critical maritime choke points for global energy supply. These vessels appear to operate under covert identifiers, often flagged under false registries, allowing plausible deniability while maintaining the ability to conduct strategic maneuvers. Intelligence assessments suggest the fleet's logistic and support infrastructure is extensive, incorporating underwater repair capabilities, autonomous resupply drones, hardened communications networks resilient against electronic warfare, and mobile command platforms capable of synchronizing maritime, aerial, and cyber operations. Analysts highlight that the operational flexibility of these ships, coupled with the secrecy surrounding their ownership, introduces unprecedented uncertainty into regional and global military calculations. Geopolitical consequences of the fleet's existence are significant. Regional actors, including China, Russia, Iran, and key NATO members, are reportedly reevaluating naval deployments and surveillance protocols in response to the potential presence of these assets. The perception alone, even without confirmed offensive actions, can trigger escalatory dynamics in contested maritime zones. For example, in the South China Sea, where Chinese naval expansion has been aggressive, The possible deployment of such vessels could compel accelerated militarization of disputed islands, increased drone reconnaissance, and rapid missile deployment by regional forces. Similarly, in the Persian Gulf, the presence of super battleships near the Strait of Hormuz raises the risk of disruption to oil transit routes, potentially influencing global energy markets and creating volatility in commodity prices. Analysts predict that commercial shipping insurance premiums in these zones could spike by 20–40%, affecting supply chains and global trade flows. Technically, the ships appear engineered for both overt and covert operations. Schematics referenced in the files indicate electromagnetic propulsion systems enabling speeds of 35–40 knots over sustained periods, reinforced hulls designed to withstand near-direct hits from conventional naval artillery, and stealth features reducing radar cross-section signatures. Weapon systems likely include hypersonic railguns, vertical launch missile systems, anti-ship cruise missiles, and integrated electronic warfare suites capable of jamming or spoofing enemy radar and communications. Each vessel may carry unmanned aerial and maritime drones for reconnaissance, strike missions, or logistical support, extending the operational reach far beyond traditional battleship limits. The combination of speed, firepower, stealth, and autonomous support systems would allow these ships to execute asymmetric operations in multiple theaters simultaneously. Military strategists warn that such capabilities, if operationalized, would introduce a strategic shock to conventional deterrence frameworks in regions already fraught with tension. The financial and political networks revealed in the Epstein files further complicate the situation. Funding for the fleet appears interwoven with high-value asset transfers and opaque corporate structures spanning multiple jurisdictions, including the Cayman Islands, Singapore, and Eastern Europe. Legal experts emphasize the challenges this poses for accountability and international maritime law. The dual-use nature of these vessels, civilian-appearing but militarily potent, creates ambiguity that could be exploited for both political influence and covert operations. Questions about chain of command, operational control, and oversight remain unresolved. The combination of private ownership, political influence, and advanced military capabilities is unprecedented, raising serious concerns about the potential for unilateral action outside formal governmental structures. Regional powers are already reacting. China has reportedly accelerated surveillance of key shipping lanes, deploying additional satellites and sonar networks, and conducting naval exercises designed to monitor potential super battleship movements. Russia is reviewing Black Sea and Arctic naval deployments, incorporating contingency protocols for rapid response to unverified naval threats. Middle Eastern states, particularly those reliant on the Strait of Hormuz for energy exports, are considering enhanced maritime coordination and air defense deployments to mitigate perceived risk. NATO members are analyzing force allocation adjustments to account for the potential asymmetric threat posed by privately controlled, technologically advanced vessels. Intelligence analysts emphasize that even the perception of these ships in contested areas could alter risk assessments and force posturing, potentially triggering escalation in already volatile regions. Economic implications are equally significant. Key maritime trade routes such as the Strait of Malacca, the Panama Canal, and the Suez Canal are highly sensitive to operational uncertainty. The existence or even rumors of Trump-linked super battleships could introduce risk premiums affecting shipping insurance, fuel costs, and cargo valuations. Energy markets, particularly crude oil and LNG, may experience volatility as analysts and traders attempt to factor in potential disruptions or strategic manipulation. The ripple effect of such uncertainty could extend to global supply chains, commodity prices, and investment strategies, particularly in industries dependent on maritime logistics. Analysts warn that even without direct action, the operational ambiguity of the fleet exerts economic pressure that rivals traditional geopolitical tools. Strategic military consequences extend beyond immediate theaters. The fleet's potential to operate across multiple regions simultaneously could strain intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance (ISR) assets, forcing governments to redeploy resources and adjust operational priorities. Analysts suggest that the ability to conduct simultaneous operations in the South China Sea, Persian Gulf, and North Atlantic would challenge conventional naval doctrines, requiring rapid adaptation of rules of engagement, threat prioritization, and joint force coordination. The integration of electronic warfare and autonomous systems amplifies the uncertainty, as conventional detection and tracking methods may be insufficient to fully assess the fleet's capabilities or intentions. Technological proliferation is a major concern. Systems developed for the super battleships, including autonomous drones, advanced radar arrays, electronic warfare modules, and railgun prototypes, have dual-use potential. Should these technologies be leaked, replicated, or transferred, they could destabilize regional balances and catalyze arms races. Experts warn that even partial deployment or public disclosure could accelerate modernization programs in nations with maritime interests, potentially triggering a cascade of reactive measures with unpredictable consequences. Analysts emphasize that the operational secrecy of the fleet, coupled with its advanced capabilities, magnifies the risk of miscalculation in high-stakes environments. The Epstein files, central to this revelation, underscore the intersection of political influence, financial networks, and strategic military assets. The combination of Trump-linked entities and advanced maritime capabilities illustrates a new paradigm in which private actors with political connections may exercise influence previously reserved for nation-states. Legal and regulatory oversight lags far behind the capabilities described, raising urgent questions about accountability, international compliance, and the potential for covert operations with far-reaching consequences. Even without direct evidence of offensive deployment, the strategic ambiguity created by the fleet's existence alters military and political calculations globally. Analysts highlight that the fleet's deployment or rumored movements could trigger a chain reaction, accelerated naval modernization programs, reallocation of forces to high-risk zones, heightened intelligence collection efforts, and preemptive diplomatic measures to mitigate perceived threats. The strategic uncertainty alone acts as a force multiplier, influencing both state and non-state actors' behavior. Economically, commodity markets, shipping insurers, and global logistics operators must contend with increased volatility and risk premiums, affecting everything from fuel costs to supply chain reliability. The revelation also underscores the evolving nature of global power projection. The integration of advanced military capabilities into assets under private influence demonstrates a paradigm shift in which non-state actors can exert asymmetric leverage over conventional forces. Analysts warn that traditional models of deterrence, chain of command, and regional stability may be inadequate in addressing the challenges posed by such fleets. The implications extend beyond naval theaters, influencing cyber operations, intelligence activities, economic policy, and international diplomacy. At this stage, the full scope of the fleet's capabilities remains uncertain. Ongoing investigations into the Epstein files, financial networks, and naval acquisitions continue, but many aspects remain obscured. Satellite tracking, intelligence assessments, and technical analyses provide partial insights, yet the operational readiness, deployment patterns, and strategic intent of these super battleships remain largely speculative. Military strategists caution that uncertainty itself can be weaponized, influencing force posture, regional diplomacy, and global economic behavior. The combination of high secrecy, advanced technology, and private political influence creates a unique set of risks that challenge conventional security paradigms. In conclusion, the revelation of Trump-linked super battleships exposed through the Epstein files represents a multidimensional strategic shock to global security, military planning, and economic stability. The integration of high-end naval technology, private influence, and covert operational capabilities introduces an unprecedented variable in international relations. Regional powers, global markets, and military planners must navigate a landscape of heightened uncertainty. where perception, rumor, and partial intelligence can have consequences as profound as confirmed action. The situation remains fluid, and while much is unknown, the potential for escalation, disruption, and strategic recalibration is extraordinary. The world now faces a reality in which private assets with advanced military capabilities can influence geopolitical outcomes, leaving nations, industries, and populations to contend with the uncertainty of what comes next.